Shields up, Ironbreakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video. Welcome back to Monster Hunter, and today I'm going to be showcasing a little bit of Charge Blade gameplay in Iceborne. I know that there's a lot of people that like the Charge Blade on my channel, so I figured I would start with this weapon. I want to do all of the weapons available in the demo. However, I'm not sure if that's going to be possible because this is a limited time demo. So, you know, I'm going to do my best, but if I don't get to all the weapons, I'm sorry if I missed your favorite weapon. Now, let's begin. Naturally, the new move that the Charge Blade is getting is the Savage Axe Slash. So I'm going to be focusing the gameplay that you guys are going to be watching on screen on using that particular attack, even though I don't think it is the most effective way of playing with the Charge Blade that is available in the demo, because the only Charge Blade that we can use is an Impact File Charge Blade. And from my understanding of Savage Axe Slash, it is going to benefit Elemental Charge Blades more because of the low motion values on some of the attacks that you get from the buff of the Savage Axe Slash, and also because the Savage Axe Slash buff lasts longer if you are using an Elemental Charge Blade. At least from the information that we've seen up until this point, that is my firm belief. So I think that with Impact Files, you're still going to want to go after that super amped Elemental Discharge. However, I can't really guarantee that is the case because I still need to test all that stuff out once we actually get to Iceborne with an Elemental Charge Blade. I know that might not make a lot of sense for some people that aren't really that into the Charge Blade, so let's get into the action, shall we? Now, you guys know how you usually charge your Charge Blade, right? If you happen to be a Charge Blade user. You go into your super amped Elemental Discharge animation, and then you cancel that by pressing R2, which is your blocking button. So let's go ahead and do that. We got full files. We're going to charge our shield. Boom. Shield is charged. That means shield now blocks better, deals more damage, all of that good stuff that we want from our shield, right? Now let's get a couple of more files in here. Okay, we now have more files. Let's go ahead and charge the blade while we're at it, because why the hell not? Everything charges the same way. And at this point, this is usually when you would go after an opening to get your super amped Elemental Discharge. However, if you want to go into Savage Axe Slash, instead of canceling the animation of super amped Elemental Discharge with R2, you're going to cancel it with L2, which is the same command that you use to aim your Slinger. That is going to be what you cancel this animation with, and you're going to get something a little bit like this. Just a quick little note, when the axe is in this position after you cast the Savage Axe Slash, that's actually a guard point, by the way. Okay, so after you do that, if you look to the top left-hand side, you'll notice, ooh, there's a new buff in there with the symbol of the axe. What that means is that every time you do an attack in axe mode now, it's going to spin, dealing additional damage. But like I said, the motion values on that damage, they're not that high. You can see that we got a couple of hits there. We got a big hit, and then the smaller hits. Let me just try to aim this. It's a little bit awkward. A little bit closer. There. You see that you get a big hit and then a bunch of smaller hits. The smaller hits don't deal that much damage, so low motion value. However, if you get elemental damage, you know, that low motion value is not really going to matter. You're still going to get a lot of damage because it's not physical, it's elemental. And that is one of the reasons why I believe this is specifically made to make Elemental Charge Blades more viable, because Super Amped Elemental Discharge is just not that great with Elemental Charge Blades. This attack, however, I can see being really good. And the good thing about this attack is that you can also use the files in order to get file discharges together with the axe buff. Now, we did run out of axe buff there because we spent the files, and once the files are gone, you lose your axe buff. Let's go ahead and get the axe buff again. And basically, if you play your cards right, you can get, you know, the damage from the physical attacks together with a bunch of file discharges, which again, in elemental mode, are usually better than impact files. Impact files are better at the super amped elemental discharge. You can still do super amped if you want to. Just remember that once those files go, so goes your axe mode buff. But basically, that is your Savage Axe Slash, and it is incredibly satisfying to use, particularly when you have a big, thick monster like Bombaru here, because you will see that whenever I just spin the axe around, you're dealing damage all over the place of the monster. You're leaving files on the monster as well. So you're dealing file damage, you're dealing physical damage, you're dealing elemental damage if you have an Elemental Charge Blade across the entirety of the length of the monster. Super satisfying attack. really, really fun. I did not expect it to be as good as it actually is. But that's not the only thing that the Charge Blade has new. Now, throughout this gameplay, you'll also see me try to do the Clutch Claw grabs, and if you happen to do one of those with a Clutch Claw finisher, and you actually finish the animation, you're going to weaken that specific part of the monster, which means it is going to take additional damage in that section of its body. It is going to make it easier for you to break parts, and again, you're going to deal more damage. It's going to increase your damage if you're able to pull off those Clutch Claw attacks, so it is important to try to do those as much as you can. Another thing that the Clutch Claw can do is you can actually do burst Slinger shots. Now, Slinger burst with the Charge Blade is a little bit tricky because you're going to have to do a proper block before you can actually fire off a Slinger burst. So I picked up a couple of bomb pods here in the training section. We're going to be hitting this barrel, and I'm going to try to get a guard point off and follow that with a press of the L2, and then you get your Slinger burst shot. This is mostly useful for when you can get these kinds of guard points on monsters, because otherwise, if you flinch too much, you're not going to be able to fire your Slinger burst. Like in this regular block, I can still do it because my shield was charged. However, now that my shield is not charged, if I go ahead and I try to do that again, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to do the Slinger burst. Yeah, because we got knocked a little bit too far back, and as such, you can't punish the monster. So this is really mostly for you to do guard points with, and then you can punish the monster with a Slinger burst. But to be honest, it didn't feel particularly useful with the Charge Blade, like maybe in some situations, and particularly if you have a very powerful Slinger to burst with, like a Bomb Pod, a Thorn Pod, stuff that really provides you with heavy stagger, then it can be useful, particularly, again, if you are good at guard point. If you can't do a proper guard point and you don't have like a bunch of guard in your set, I wouldn't really bother too much with Slinger Burst against monsters. The real novelty of the Charge Blade is the Savage Axe Slash, which is pretty friggin' sweet. I'm going to let the rest of this hunt play out. You guys let me know what you think about the Charge Blade in Iceborne. Thank you all very much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit it up with a like. If you like my video, subscribe, hit the bell notification icon. Stay strong, and may your shields never break.